Hey everybody, it's Marston here, back again with another video. So as you can see from the title, this story is about a time where one of my friends took the school's bully to prom. So I'll introduce the new characters a little bit, and the reason why I'm saying new characters is that this is the same prom I took my buddy's cousin to. But there's a few new characters in the story. Just so it makes more sense, I'll explain them a little bit, do a quick little backstory. Oh, I know another shitty backstory, but it'll make more sense if I tell the backstory real quick. Alright, so I'll tell you guys about my buddy first. My buddy's name was Jaden, super, super nice kid. I still talk to him a little bit to this day. Very nice kid, but the thing about him was that he had like high functioning autism, like a lot of kids at my school did. And that's totally fine, obviously. I'm not judging him in any shape or form. But the thing was, there was this bully at my school, and I'm going to just call him Jared. And not a lot of people like Jared for the way he would act. He was like a real asshole to everybody. Like, he picked on me for having ADHD a bunch of times when he also had the same thing. But when he found out I was diagnosed with it when I first got to the school, he was just very, very mean to me. And I didn't appreciate that. But I was friends with this Jared kid for a little bit. I'll tell a whole separate video of a time I went to his house, or he came to my house actually, and it was a disaster. That's a whole other video though. But like I said, Jared, he was just a real dick to everybody. Like, he had a girlfriend, he had a few friends, but other than that, he wasn't that nice of a kid. But the thing about Jaden, it was the opposite. Like I said, he had autism and stuff, but he could still talk, he could still drive. I remember he was one of the only kids who actually had a car my senior year. And like, he could work, all that stuff, but for whatever reason, Jared just found every way to pick at him since he didn't have the best social skills. And because he didn't have the best social skills, me and all my homies would include him in like any hangout we'd do. We'd include him at stuff at school. Like I said, he was an extremely nice kid. Like I said, I still talk to him to this day. I hung out with him a while back with what's his face? With Chet a while back. Super, super nice kid. Alright, we'll dive into the story now that the story makes a little more sense. So, around the same time we were making plans for prom, I remember Jade and Kenny like, dude, I don't got a date, bro, and Jared's picking on me and shit. And I was like, dude, like, that's terrible, bro. Like, nobody should have to go to prom by themselves, which I did the first couple years, as I told you, or the last couple years, I should say, before my senior year. I remember, like, more specifically, my sophomore year, me and Chet just went. We tried to get some girls, but we couldn't. And then same with the year after that. So I was telling Jaden, I'm like, bro, there's nothing to be ashamed of, bro. If you don't have a date for senior prom, bro, a lot of people don't. Don't ever doubt yourself, bro. You have a lot of things that those kids don't. Because, like I said, he had a car, he had a job, all that. He was a very, very smart and nice kid, like I mentioned earlier. But the thing was, like, nah, dude, like, you don't understand. Like, he's constantly picking on me, all that. And side note here, kind of important note, actually. So, him and Jared, and ironically, Peter's date, Rachel, would all ride in, like, the van together to school. And Rachel would DM me, telling me, oh, um, Jared's kind of being a dick to Jaden, all that. Like, there'd be times where she'd DM me that. I didn't talk to her much, but she knew I was close with Jaden, and she would, like I said, report it to me of how rude he was to him. So I kind of picked up on that too. And the funny thing was, or not the funny thing, but the kind of upsetting part actually was that Jared had been going to my school even longer than Jaden was. Me and Jared came to the school the same year, and the thing was, they all went to the same public school. Jared and Jaden were in the same grade, and the public school knew how poorly Jared treated Jaden, and yet they recommended the same school to Jared as they did Jaden, which, if you ask me, is fucking stupid. At the very least, they could have told him, oh, Jaden, the kid that he picked on, went to this school like a year before him. Like, you probably shouldn't go to this school just for safety and shit. But they didn't tell him that. I don't know if it's for a safety thing or how that shit works. I don't know. I don't work education, but me personally, I would have recommended a different school to Jared since he was such an asshole to Jaden. So fast forward about like a month later, Jaden hits me up in excitement. He's like, dude, guess what? I'm like, what? And he's like, dude, I got a date to prom. And prom was like 2 weeks. Was in like 2 weeks. And I was like, dude, who? And he's like, don't worry about it, dude. Trust me. I got it figured out. And I was like, dude, like, I'm like, who is he gonna bring, bro? Like I was actually very curious. Like, I was asking girls around my school, like, dude, did Jaden ask you the prom? And they're like, oh, nah, dude, no, dude. I'm like, do you know who it is? And none of them knew. Like, I even asked Rachel, and she's like, nah, dude, I don't know. And I was like, oh, bro, this is gonna be interesting. So fast forward to prom, Jaden and Jared are ironically at the same table, which is a horrible idea if you ask me. But for whatever reason, they assigned them to the same table. But Peter and Rachel were there too. And when I get there with my date with Abigail, Peter's cousin, I'm like, yo, where's Jaden at, bro? Because Jared was already there with his girlfriend and some of his boys and their girls. Since there were about like 12 people at each table, if I remember correctly. So I see Jared, I see his girl, I see his boy, his girl, I see Peter, I see Rachel, but there's no sign of Jaden and his date. I'm thinking, oh no, bro, did he get stood up? And then 5 minutes goes by, I get a text from Jaden. He's like, bro, I'm here. And I'm like, oh dude, where's your date, bro? And he's like, bro, come to the front door or the double doors to find out. And bro, I shit you not, he is holding hands and walking in with no other than Jared's fucking sister. I'm like, dude, does he know? And he's like, nope, that's why I didn't tell anybody. I'm like, dude, you are diabolical, bro. He's gonna be so pissed. But he was like, dude, I don't care. He's been a dick to me for all my life, dude. I don't care. And I was like, bro. So I walk in with Jaden and his date. I'ma just call her Heather. So me, Jaden and Heather walk into the room or into the ballroom, and I'm just waiting for Jared's reaction. They walk over to the table, and Peter and Rachel are looking at me like, "Oh fuck, here we go," because they knew Jaden's sister really well since they went to school with it. Well, Peter didn't, but the rest of them did. And I was just like, dude, this is gonna be so interesting. And then Jared finally turns around from looking at his phone, whatever the hell he was doing, and the look on his face said it all. He was like, dude, what the fuck? And then he looks at Jaden and gives him that look. He was like, dude, is that my sister? And Jaden's like, yeah, dude. And Jared is just silent. Like, he is absolutely quiet. Peter's quiet. Rachel's quiet. I'm quiet. I think Chet came over. Chet's quiet. Like, it was all just silence. It was silence like this for like a whole like minute. Like, I didn't know what to say. All I could hear was like the music they were playing in the background. And then Jaden finally said something. Are you gonna say something, Jared? And Jared's like, what the fuck, man? And like I said, the look on his face, bro, like, I wish I took a picture, bro. Like, I have never seen someone so shocked and disappointed and like, bro, I just got owned, like, on their face so much in my life, dude. Like, holy fuck, dude. I was like, that is crazy. And then Jared again pauses. It's silence for like another like minute. And then they finally get the talk in, or more like arguing. And Jared's like, dude, like, you did not take my sister to prom. You must have paid her or something. And then Heather finally steps in and says something. And she's like, no, he didn't pay me. I just really like him. I remember going to school with him. He's a really nice kid. He's very respectful. And I just really like him. And Jared's like, you're going out with this nerd. Like I said, he was a real dick. Like, he would always, like, pick on, especially Jaden, for literally anything. And Heather's like, yeah, I like this nerd. Like, like she literally like agreed with him. And then Jaden was like, yeah, so I took your sister to the prom. What are you going to do about it? Then Jared stands up. And then a staff member sees the way he stood up. And the staff member immediately says, Jared, I would sit the fuck down if I was you. So Jared sits down, and the look on his face, bro, like the entire time, the entire night is crazy. But I remember fast forward to the end of the night before me and Abigail headed out to go see my dad, who was waiting for us outside. I look at Jared because I didn't care. We were graduating in like 2 weeks at this point. I didn't even care if like he beat me up or if he told on me or whatever it was. I was like, Jared, let me ask you something. How does it feel to know that the kid that you've been bullying since you've known him since preschool or whenever the fuck you met him, how does it feel to know that he took your sister to prom? And he was just silent. Like he was giving me like that shut up look, those shut up eyes, all that. And he was just silent. I don't think he even said anything back. Like I waited like a whole like minute for him to say something back. And Abigail's like, dude, let's just head out. Let's just leave. I was like, okay, okay. And I remember the day after prom, I get a text from Jaden, and he was like, bro, I had such a fun time last night with Heather, dude. I'm really happy. I actually be my girlfriend, and she agreed too. And side note here, Jaden, I keep saying the wrong name. Jaden was extremely religious. Like, he was all about, like, the no sex till marriage, all that stuff. And Heather just so happened to follow that, too. So they were perfect for each other. They're still dating to this day, which makes me really happy. Now, you're probably wondering what happened with Jared. What ended up happening? How is he handling this? All that. So Jared has moved out. I think he moved, like, to a different state or something. But I remember for a couple years, the first couple years that Heather and Jaden were dating, he did not like it at all. Like whenever he found out Jaden was coming over, he'd go out with his girl, he'd go out with his friends, whatever the case was. But I just find that so awesome how Jaden got the best revenge that he could. I really hope that they stay together forever. They really do deserve each other. And as for Jared, bro, if you're watching this, you know who you are. Don't be a dick to kids like that, dude. Just because they're lower functioning than you doesn't mean that you can be a dick to them, bro. Like, the thing is, bro, like, you don't even drive still, bro, and Jaden still does. So, like, I don't even want to hear it out of you, bro, if you're watching. Alright, guys, that's going to be it for the first video of today. I'm going to tell the Chet story I was talking about in yesterday's video later on. And I might cook up another video later on. We shall see. Alright, guys, take care for now. Peace.